Welcome to your Utah-Oklahoma State preview. Big game in the Big 12. This was presented by Prize Picks. This, Ari, is the first truly big matchup of the new Big 12. There was that Kansas State-Arizona game last week, but that was not a conference game. It was one of those previously scheduled non-conference games. This is a conference game. This one counts, and these are two teams that we thought have a really good chance of winning the Big 12 title this year. I have a lot of questions here.
Oh, yeah, me too. Is Ollie Gordon going to take over the world soon? Is that one of yours?
Or is it going to be what it's been? Because, so he averaged 4.5 yards a carry, gained 126 yards against South Dakota State. And then Arkansas and Tulsa pretty much limited him. You know, against Arkansas, he's 17 carries for 49 yards. Against Tulsa, 17 carries for 41 yards. Now, look, Alan Bowman in the passing game just annihilated Tulsa, so that wasn't a problem for them, but it was a problem in the Arkansas game, which Oklahoma State had to eke out. This is a much better defense probably than anything they've seen so far. I think probably personnel-wise, probably not that different from Arkansas in terms of size, speed, strength, all that stuff. But we know that Utah's defense is very well coached. And I think the question is, can Ollie Gordon get loose against these guys, or is it going to have to be on Alan Bowman and the receivers to do it again?
Well, if you're Utah's coaching staff, like, what are you selling out to stop here? Like, if I'm going to lose this Big 12 matchup, it's going to be because Alan Bowman threw all over me. Like, I'm calling that.
I'm going to base up and see if we stop Ollie Gordon the first couple plays, because I've got big defensive linemen. I've got athletic defensive linemen, and I've been able to stop the run historically. So I base it up, and I dare them to throw. Now, if Ollie Gordon pops you for a couple runs, maybe you pop that other person in the box. But I want that other person in coverage, because, I mean, Alan Bowman and his Rashad Owens and Deshaun Stribling, like, they've been really good. So that's the part I'm concerned about there. So we're looking at this through the lens of Prize Picks, best daily fantasy game in the world. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the code Staples. Play $5. Get $50 instantly. The way you do it is you pick squares where you have a player and they're assigned a certain number of yards or a certain number of kicking points or a certain number of touchdowns. And you decide, are they going to do more than that or less than that? So, for example, Alan Bowman. Is he going to have more than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns? That's a demon square, so that actually pays out more. You pick at least 2 squares, and the more squares you pick, the higher the potential payout. So Alan Bowman's number here, 271.5 pass yards. It's
a big number.
It's a big number. It's a big number. I don't think he has to do that for them to win. No, I think he can throw less than that, and they can still win this game.
Oh, absolutely. But then Ollie Gordon's going to have to go more than 102.5 rushing yards, right? Like, it can't be.
Well, 102.5 is rushing plus receiving.
82.5
is the rushing yard number.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you slice it. Ollie Gordon's going to have more than 100 yards of offense in this game if Bowman doesn't get there. We came into the season thinking that this was the best player, or one of the best players in the entire sport, and he has not been the electrifying asset that we have come to love and know. And it's going to happen eventually, because it's not like he's not good at football anymore. But Oklahoma State's has got to design some stuff up to get him into the open field. And, a bulk of that 102.5 has got to be rushing, especially considering the fact that the receiving square is 15.5 yards. So I think that, if you want it to feel a little froggy, I could imagine Ollie springing a few pass plays and doing more than 15.5 yards there. That's one's really attractive to me.
So the other side of the coin are questions. Cam Rising. He did not play last week against Utah State. He got hurt the week before against Baylor. We think he's going to be back. He did an interview this week where it certainly sounded like he's ready to play. There are a lot of Cam Rising squares. 231.5 passing yards for him. There's a demon square that's 2.5 passing TDs. If you think he's going to throw for more than 3 or more touchdowns, this is a big day for Cam Rising. I mean, Ari, we've been waiting to see. The last time we saw Cam Rising in a game of this consequence was the Rose Bowl that he got hurt in that caused him to miss all of last season. So we haven't gotten to see him in a game like this in a while. I am very excited. This is a guy who led Utah to 2 consecutive Pac-12 titles. He's a big game quarterback.
Yeah, and I just am hoping to get to a point, Andy, where we can talk about Cam Rising in the context of performance and not injury, because it's been one after another for this poor guy, and I just want to see him get out there and cook. I mean, we're talking about a team right now that I think is probably the favorite to win the Big 12 in their first year in this conference, and being in a position where there are 5 teams in the Big 12 that would like to feel that way. This is going to be one of the more important games in the conference, and will certainly, pave a way for how we view that number 4 seed in the playoff potentially shaking out. And maybe it's disrespectful to say 4, but like we need him
Might be 3. Who knows?
to play a really, really good game and talk about him for a performance. And I look at the squares here, Andy, and I feel like 2/3 of the squares here are demons, because I think that there is a lack of remembering how good this kid is actually when he's playing in a big game like this, because it's been 2 full years since we've seen it happen. But 2, whenever you go into a square with Cam, you have to also take into account that, we're not 100% sure he's going to finish a game. He's just been snake bitten by injuries, and I'm hoping for his sake and Utah's sake that we get a really good, clean, healthy game from him so we can see who the best team in the Big 12 probably is.
So, question for you. If you're thinking Cam Rising is going to have a good game and you want to go more than on him, would you go more than 231.5 passing yards or more than 258.5 pass plus rush yards?
I would probably do the pass plus rush, because it just gives you more opportunity to get there. And I don't think he's the biggest runner on the face of the earth, but I can certainly see
he's
scrambling out there.
He's an opportunistic runner. He's a good scrambler.
Yes. And I do think that 20 extra yards to give you both potential of big plays there is probably the attractive play.
And look, if you think Utah's going to win this game, I think you're probably looking at tight end Brant Keithy more than 49.5 receiving yards. That's the most dangerous target Cam Rising has. That's the one that Oklahoma State should be scared of. He's a freak. So
Utah just out here just drafting cloning Dalton Kincaid now. Just like big. Tall.
Remember, Dalton Kincaid was Brant Keithy's backup, and then Brant Keithy got hurt, and Kincaid took over.
Just they always have this very athletic, big, strong tight end to throw the ball to, and it's always their best target, right? Like, I don't know. Dorian Singer is another person that I thought had a really good year a few years ago for U of A and has been all over the place, USC and back up here to Utah. 37.5 receiving yards for him. I mean, he's a very talented player, and just it really hasn't caught on track since leaving Arizona. So that's another one I'd keep my eyes on.
This is going to be a great game. As you can tell, we're not really sure how to play it. It's going to surprise us, I think, and I cannot wait. This is what we expect out of the Big 12. Like, we're going to get these kind of matchups week to week, and we're probably not really going to be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen. And that's, for excitement's sake, all you can hope for. Ari, cannot wait for this one.
Same here. Can't wait.